Alright, this is the recording for section 3.3. So, I'm doing this a little bit different this time. I kind of already have everything solved here on my paper both sides for all the problems that you have asked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the problem and then I'm going to walk through what I've done, which is essentially what I've done before, but just to save some paper instead of just transferring it over, Try to save a few trees, I guess, while we can. So, our first question is number 24 on page 176. And the question goes, Quick Copy recently charged 49 cents per page for color copies and 9 cents per page for black and white copies. If Shirley's bill for 90 copies was $12.90, how many copies of each type were made? So, going over here to our problem here, let me kind of flip the phone around here. So, to figure out my variables, obviously it gives it away kind of in the problem. So color copy I have as X and black and white as Y, so 49 cents and 9 cents respectively. Of course, just starting out with the normal equations I've done for this section, as I found this section a little bit easier to do, which I'm kind of surprised by that. Normally I don't do too well with word problems, so maybe I'm actually learning something here. So I started with X plus Y equals 190. Oh, not 190, sorry, 0.90. So, reason why I did that is because we need 90 copies altogether. So, nope, I take that back. I have miswrote that. So, I have it as 90 as a whole number. Just make sure I've got the right page. I do, because I had multiple pages going on here. So, for my first equation, I had X plus Y equals 90, and so moving over here to the main part of the equation here, I had X plus Y equals 1290 as my second equation, because we need to figure out how many copies for $12.90 was spent. So for X, I had put in 0.49 times 90 minus Y. That's what I have over here as X. Hopefully you can see that. It's a little kind of not erased too much, but we'll go with that. So 0.49 times 90 minus Y, end of the parenthesis, plus 0.09Y equals to 1290. So after doing the calculation, I have 44.10 minus 0.49Y plus 0.09Y equals 1290. So I just took this, multiplied it like that. That's where I've got those two. The third line, combine like terms. So these two added together, it's pretty simple. We're just taking 0.09 away, so that still gives us minus 0.40y. So 44.10 minus 0.40y equals 1290. So I'm going to subtract 44/10 from both sides to solve for y. That gives me negative 0.40y equals negative 31.20. So I'm going to divide that by 0.40 on both sides to get for y. And so for y, I got 78 copies of the black and white. So I kind of did some math over here as well, some other extra fun stuff here. So it's 78 copies times 9 cents, that gives me $7.02 for the total. So now since we figured out for y, we're going to just plug it down here for this part right here. So X plus Y equals 90. I'm going to substitute Y. X plus 78 equals 90. Subtract 78 from both sides, and that gave me X equals 12. So 12 copies of the colored copies, and timesing that by 49 cents gives me $5.88. So combining 7.02 and 588 came out to 1290. So that's my answer. All right, the next problem we have is number 30. And it goes, Oh Nuts, which is actually a really good company. I highly suggest purchasing from them if you're into that kind of stuff. So Oh Nuts sells pistachio kernels for $10 a pound and almonds for $8 per pound. So the question's asking how much of each type should be used to make a 50-pound mixture that sells for 8.80 pounds. So with this, I was able to deduce that, or deduct from that last part of the question, the 8.80. We really don't need that. That kind of is just what they're deciding to sell that special product for. that is something with word problems that's kind of thrown me off as that last number. So after doing so much work and kind of plugging in numbers to see exactly, I kind of figured this one out, though it took a little bit. So pistachios, I have at $10 per pound. I have that value as X. I don't know why I put $10 per pound, because we're really not looking for price, but just wrote it for the fun of it. And then almonds I have as equal Y. So the same thing, starting off with our first equation, X plus Y equals 0.50. So the reason why I did 0.50 is because we need a specific number plugging it in. So this is kind of where I had to, do this about 3 times until I realized I'm probably putting in the wrong numbers. So originally I was putting 10 times 50, and then I was getting numbers into the thousands, and it was not adding up to the total of 50 pounds. So after, doing some trial and error, I eventually figured out, hey, okay, I better be doing it this way. So I have X plus Y equals 0.50, subtract Y from both sides. X equals 0.50 minus Y. So that's my first equation. Second equation, the same thing like with all of these, it's X plus Y equals, normally, like with the last problem, it was 1290. This time, though, I'm keeping 50 as the whole number, because that's the actual whole number of pounds that we need. So it was X plus Y equals 50. So then, going over here, plugging all the numbers in with their appropriate coordinates. So I have 10 times 0.50 minus Y, that is what Y had equaled, plus 8Y, because 8's the amount for the almonds. Sorry, I've got a really froggy throat this morning. So 10, okay, so you got the first equation here. Moving on, after doing the math, I've got 5 minus 10Y plus 8Y, so as solving with equations, combine like terms, so I've got 5 minus 2Y equals 50, subtract 5 from both sides. I eventually got negative 2Y equals 45, so to solve for Y, divide by negative 2 on both sides. So that gave me 22.50 pounds of almonds is what we should be using for this mixture. So then, same thing, kind of going back to that first equation, or the second equation, because that first one we're really not going to use anymore because we don't need to figure out the exact total in pounds, so it's not going to be in a decimal point anymore. Was X plus Y equals 50, so X plus Y, which was 2250, equals 50, subtract 2250 on each side. That gave me X equals 27.50 pounds of pistachios. So respectively, O-Nuts needs to have 27.50 pounds of pistachios to 22.50 pounds of almonds to do their almond and pistachio mix. Like I said, good company. Their nuts are really good. So this one, 46, this kind of threw me off a little bit. These kind of problems always did as well, but after realizing that, it's not as bad as long as I just follow the formula, which was always kind of the key, makes life a little easy. So 46 is 2 cars leave Salt Lake City, traveling in opposite directions. One car travels at a speed of 80 kilometers per hour, and the other at 96 kilometers per hour. And how many hours will they be at 528 kilometers apart? So I was able to deduct from just reading this question that we need to find the time is what we need, because distance is normally rate times time. And then, of course, the other ones, and then like time is distance divided by speed or rate and things like that. So that's the formula I used, was time equals distance divided by speed. That was not a very good D, but we'll go with that. So anyway, so I labeled car A as 80, the first car for 80 miles per hour, or 80 miles per kilometer per hour. Let's try that again. Car B I have for 96 kilometers per hour, so, it's simply just doing some division, and it's pretty simple. So car A, when they reach at 528 kilometers away from Salt Lake City, divided by their speed at 80 kilometers per hour, means it will take them 6.6 hours of travel time to get at 528 kilometers. Car B would be a little speed demon over here. they're going 96 kilometers per hour, so our formula is just a tad bit different. So it's going to be 528 kilometers per hour, or kilometers as far away from Salt Lake, divided by 96. So they will get to not 96. They will get to 528 kilometers at 5.5 hours. So, as I said, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, pretty easy problem. So this last one's the one that definitely gave me a run for my money. I definitely need to learn more of the formulas, just like off the top of my head, kind of like with distance and things like that I had mentioned before. So it was I had to review some videos and finally figured out how to figure out number 52. So 52 is the perimeter of a rectangular oceanfront lot is 190 meters. The width is 1/4 of the length, and it's asking us to find the dimensions. So when we have width on both sides along with length on both sides equals 190. So to start off our first formula here, just so we got something to work with, we're going to do width plus length equals 190, which makes total sense. So that gives us 2w plus 2l equals 190. Of course, this answer is going to be in meters, but I'm just putting it at 190 there just to make life easy. And so the second clue as to figuring out what we need to find out here is, it states here in the problem, the width is 1/4 of the length. So what that means is width is 1/4 of the length. Pretty simple. So instead of doing fractions, I like doing decimal points. It makes it easier for me. I do double check. Now this paper here, despite there being a part of the email here, like I said, this is scratch paper I get from work, so ignore that. I double check with my fractions just to make sure of what's going on. And also this problem I think came up. I think it was in the video, but anyway, so I just did decimal points just because it makes my life a little easier and I don't get too confused and mess something up. So plugging it into the equation here, so we have 2 with w in the input in place, so 2 times 0.25 times L plus 2L equals 190, so that gives us 0.5 times L plus 2L equals 190. So then we're going to just combine like terms here, so 0.5 times L is 0.5L plus 2L is going to give us 2.5L equals 190. Divide or solve for L, so divide by 2.5 on both sides. And the length we got is 76 meters for one side of the length. So to then find width, we need to plug in our length in that second formula of width equals 0.25 times 76. And so plugging that in and doing the calculations, it gives us a width of 19 meters. So going down here, kind of just to final double check ourselves here, just kind of following the same formula I had with w plus L plus L. So I punched in all the corresponding numbers into their coordinates, and I got 19 plus 19 plus 76 plus 76 is 190. So that's all I got for this one. I will see you for the next recording.